Hi folks, welcome back to Alien Agenda. Today we bring you the final part of Colonel Gene's fascinating interview with Aaron. We dive deeper into anti-gravity propulsion, underwater fast movers, Bob Lazar's gravity field theory, radar interference, nuclear test mysteries, and the possibility that advanced technology, no matter how sophisticated, can still fail. Buckle up, this is where science, speculation, and the unknown collide.
I thought that was a weird thing to say, but then it was early 90s when he mentioned this. And then years and years later, I remember seeing another UFO report, and the guy's like, oh, this is this disc-looking thing, and next thing you know, it just kind of went up in on its end and took off like that. It's like, that's literally what Bob Lazar described.
Well, see, what you're describing in the air with the anti-gravity approach may also be the way these submersibles are moving, because there have been a number of observations where they have gone into the water and traveled at speeds that we couldn't even begin to approach.
My nephew was on a boomer, and he would talk about fast movers. And that was just a catchphrase for anything traveling ridiculous speeds that they should not be able to travel. And they had a classification for them, and they had to track them, but reporting them was different. It's like they weren't added in the normal way. They had to be reported a certain way that would go up to a certain
different channel.
Yeah, a different channel. And again, if it's a gravitic drive, it would be, it would be easily able to use in the water. It's the same principle. You're warping space. You're not warping. Space is going around you. You wouldn't even make a ripple.
Mm-hmm.
But if they can track you enough at the speed, so there's got to be some kind of an effect that we can track. So maybe sound, maybe it's that electrical hum that I always keep referring to or hearing about. There's obviously it does something, and we can track something. I don't know if we're hitting it with a beam and maybe it comes back. Who knows? I do know this: when Bob Lazar described the field, the gravity field itself, he drew it as a heart.
Yes.
And this also stuck with me. This is why I think the crashes started happening at the times that they did. And I suspect it had more to do with our World War II radar installations. And I'll get into that in a minute. But the theory was this. I had heard him years ago talk about this, the way the field was shaped. And I'll never forget when he was just sort of wringing his hands because he's so brilliant, he's stupid. And he's like, what drove me the most insane was they're talking to the pilot on a handheld radio. That shouldn't work at all. The electromagnetic frequency should be bending around it. I'm sitting there thinking, but what if there's a specific frequency that maybe these things are vulnerable to, and or because of the shape of the field, maybe it intensifies at a certain point.
Yes.
And amplifies. We could use that for communications, but if you knew that and you could figure that out, you'd realize, oh, these things are pretty vulnerable. Because then you just got to figure out what the frequency is. And the scalar radar was basically super microwaves. What if they just happen to be, talk about bad luck. Imagine if there's UFO. Well, let's check up on these silly humans flying around. Now we've got these radar systems, and they just cross into the beam, and just, let's say you're inside a nice comfortable temperature, and all of a sudden it goes up to 500 degrees, flash fry. Now you're crashing. It's possible. It's also possible that we could have figured out how to do that by multiply aiming all those sites specifically
at that object. Yeah.
Then I started wondering, I wonder if we started scheduling our tests along the same routes of these things and have the radar station installation. So I started trying to figure out on a map where all the old installations used to be in conjunction to where we did nuclear tests. And it's hard to track because Department of Energy don't like to talk about it. I do know one that could possibly corroborate. Is that the word? Yeah, corroborate. Bob Lazar, one of his stories where he talked about he thinks he was there to replace a guy that died because supposedly one of the engines was under power and they sliced into it with a plasma welder, which just, man, that sounds insane. We're going to slice into this antimatter reactor with a plasma torch. Perhaps not. They said it went off like a nuke. So just on chance, I was like, has there ever been any unscheduled tests that were announced after the fact? And there was. And it was around that area of Papoose Lake.
Mm-hmm.
But they used to do nuclear testing. But they had to do this is an unscheduled test. Okay. Red flag. There's no such thing as an unscheduled nuclear test.
No. They're very scheduled and very methodic.
If you're unscheduled testing, but if you're testing a nuke, you better believe everybody knows that you're testing it, including the bad guys, because you don't want them misinterpreting it as an attack. So why the unscheduled test? Who knows?
Well, I've read articles that claim that it's very possible, for example, in 1947, when the Roswell crash occurred, there were some electrical storms going on at that time. That's one possibility. I've read other articles that said other crashes may have been caused by what you were talking about, radar or interference, whether it was intentional or just happenstance. And then there's always the possibility, no matter how smart these extraterrestrials may be, if they're relying on technology, it can screw up. You know what I mean?
Blind don't work. And the lightning strike, maybe a surviving pilot was like, oh, this is what happened on the inside. Really? Well, what frequency was that at when it hit you? Okay, yeah, get that back take this with you.
Well, Aaron, our discussion really was wide ranging, but I think it all turns into the issue that we don't really know as much as we'd like to know. We don't know as much as we think we know. There's a lot to know out there, and we may very well, in the very near future, have some direct contact with extraterrestrials, and they may provide a few of the answers that we don't have, but they probably don't have them all either. But I want to, I think your perspective on the paranormal, your perspective on the aliens, is very plausible, and I think that our listeners will take a lot from your discussion, because the more you think about this stuff, the more you realize that we could be on the precipice of learning things that are just beyond comprehension. That if you thought 50, 60 years ago, 100 years ago, they were all science fiction, and like I said before, they're not fiction, they're just science that hasn't yet been discovered. But I want to thank you for coming on Alien Agenda.
No worries.
It's been a fascinating conversation, and I hope we can schedule some more conversations, because there's a lot of things out there that we could discuss. And one of the things, and you mentioned this, and I've tried to do this in my book, I try to get, when I mention the science, I try to do it in a way that the average person can grasp. Not that I'm a genius, I'm not. But, sometimes you have to boil things down to what people will understand, or you sort of glaze over.
Can I give you an example of this, which is pitch perfect? I can give you a radiation course in a few seconds. So you got alpha, beta, gamma.
Right.
And you got rate and dose, right?
Right.
Most general public won't know what that means when you say
correct.
Rate and dose rate of radiation. Rate is odometer.
Mm-hmm.
Dose, odometer. Rate is speedometer. Dose is odometer.
Right. It's cumulative effect, yes.
Now they know what rate and dose is. It's like,
that's correct.
Oh, okay. So it's the radiation, that's the speed that it's hitting you. And this is how much you've absorbed, or how far you've gone.
Right.
And like, oh, it was a brilliant guy that was smart enough to be able to teach dumb people like myself that told me that one. And there's people that go through courses for weeks and don't know what that is. And if I just hope we get people smart enough to be able to dumb some of this really high science down to us, because knowledge is important.
Certainly is. Well, thank you very much for coming on Alien Agenda tonight, and we'll have to get together again.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a blast. Appreciate
Take care.
It. Y'all have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Well, folks, what a journey. This episode's discussion reminds us just how much we don't know. The universe is vast, the technology, whoever built it, may be far beyond our current understanding, and yet we may be closer than ever to answers. If there's one thing we've learned, it's this: yesterday's science fiction can quickly become tomorrow's science fact. Thank you for joining us on Alien Agenda. Stay curious, keep looking up, and sometimes beneath the waves. And be sure to tune in next time as we continue exploring the ever-expanding mysteries of aliens, UFOs, and the unknown.
Are They Out There invites you on a captivating exploration of the universe's greatest mysteries. Dive into ancient sightings, the legendary Roswell incident, and eye-opening details from recent congressional hearings. This book reveals the most compelling evidence of UFOs and alien life. Don't wait. Order your copy today on our website or Amazon and decide for yourself, are we truly alone in the cosmos?